Is the season premiere, the series premiere of the Brolin Alley. This is Jeff Lane. I am like the 17th or 18th co-host that this man has had. And I'm going to bring him in right now. You can see him right there.
17 or 18?
Something like that, right?
Slight exaggeration, but we have gone through some in the last few months. There's no doubt about that. And speaking of co-host, Vince Russo is supposed to be here for the season premiere of the Brolin Alley. I changed the name of this damn show for him. It was going to be the Brolin Alley, season 13, and then I thought I would tease the fans a little bit and say, well, I don't think the Brolin Alley is a good fit for Russo, and I don't think we're going to work with him under the Brolin Alley name. We're not going to do that. And then we show up a week or two later as the Brolin Alley. And that was done for him. And he promised me faithfully that he would be here tonight. And he's going to introduce me to the Realm Network and the Podcast One people. And I did the Podcast One. And it's out there right now. People are seeing it all over the place. Me and you and Vito Lagrassi, right? Is that his name?
Yep, Vito Lagrasso, Big Vito, getting color.
Vito Lagrassi. I thought they named a dance after him or something. Doing the Vito Lagrassi. I'm sure that's a big dance and a hit. I think one of those Latino singers and dancers did it. I can't think of his name right now. So where's Vince? He's supposed to be here. I know you can put 10 people in these boxes here on Google Hangouts, and a Lost fan, huh? That caught my attention. I don't see Vince. Where's Vince?
Vince is under the weather. He's been dealing with vertigo for this past week, and I guess it caught up with him again when he was out in Colorado looking at a house, and so he's just been under the weather all day, I guess.
Davis used to pull that crap, telling everybody vertigo to get out of work, and you mean to tell me that I don't mean to blow my own horn or anything, but who better knows the tune? Kenny Starmaker Brolin, the man who runs through hosting networks like X-Lax through a Widow Woman, is here tonight. Season premiere. Series premiere. Vince Russo, the brand.
Vince Russo's the brand.
The owner of this network. The big deal on Podcast One. I do a favor for him and fill in for him. Y'all told me I was going to be on 10 minutes with Vito.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Took care of that crap, didn't we? When you got a big star on, so you got into this business to interview big stars and be a big deal in the television and podcast industry. And here you were doing it, and you think you were going to have me on for 10 minutes? The man who's been doing podcasts longer than anybody in podcasting history, certainly longer than anybody in pro wrestling podcasting history. This is 13 years. You can't name me another guy that's been doing it 13 years. You can't name me another person that has over 1 billion downloads certified, and that don't count me guest hosting on all these countless of some hundreds of thousands of other shows of people that have podcast hosts. That's just me. That's just my shows with 1 billion downloads. And then Vince Russo, number one, he slapped me in the face twice now because we'll get slap number one out of the way first.
All right.
Vince Russo, I heard him on Podcast One, giving me the big introduction, letting everybody know that they could see the Starmaker and the Brolin Alley coming up on tonight, September 13th. And I'm going to give everybody a big scoop. We recorded this on 9/11, but we didn't want to air it on 9/11 out of respect. And also, we didn't want to be the biggest disaster recorded on that day. So that way we'll be the second biggest disaster if this show don't get over. But he acted like that only people in Kentucky knew me. Did you hear this? Did you hear this, Jeff?
A lot of you out there, if you're not from, the Kentucky area, the Ohio Valley area, if you're not from that area, regional, wrestling, you might not know Kenny Brolin.
Kenny Brolin, those of you outside of Kentucky, Kenny Brolin, and then he gives a little history and talks about John Cena and all that. And he acts like, after 13 years in the podcast business, after the man that created John Cena, Mark Henry, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, if you can even throw in Dolph Ziggler there if you want, Mike Mondo of the Spirit Squad. You throw in all these people that I've created and made big stars out of, and he doesn't think anybody knows me? Now, who's he trying to fool? He recruited me for a reason. He knew that I was going to be the big dog on this network. He realized that I was going to bring a lot of attention here, and that the downloads and the ratings, every post I see, Brolin equals money. This is big money. Everything's big money to Vince Russo. So big money shows up ready to do a job, and he's clutching to vertigo as a reason. Well, all he's got to do is sit in his chair. If he's dizzy, he grabs his desk like that, and he'll be just fine. So I'm not going to accept vertigo as excuse. You know why I don't think Vince Russo's here tonight?
Why is that?
A bit intimidated that the Starmaker, it might overshine him just a little bit. He maybe the attention to be a little bit more on me than it is. If you don't think he's that type of guy, do you? I thought Vince was my friend. I've lost friends because of Vince Russo. Well, technically because of me, but over Vince Russo. Let's phrase it for what it is. Over Vince Russo. Right now, I should be the best friend in the world Vince Russo's got.
That's
and
right.
He can't be here tonight to premiere with me on his network, where I left 2 or 3 other hosts here recently. Poor old Harry over there in England. And then we left that guy, that Cronin guy that was a big mark, likes to wear his hat backwards and sit in the front row on WWE shows. And then, of course, we had Brian last place, who fired me 43 minutes after we quit. I've had some problems with some hosts. Don't think in one moment that I won't walk off this set right now and I'll go work for one of these punk kids around here in Louisville, Kentucky that has podcasts that wants to elevate their show, because that's what I do. I elevate shows. If you want to talk about the 5 highest rated shows that Jimmy Cornette had, I had 5 of the top 6. You know the only guy to beat me? I'll tell you who it is. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
He's the only guy, not Jim Ross, not Rip Rogers, not Lance Storm, not all the countless, some hundreds of thousands of guests he's had that ever beat me, that have more worldwide fame than me. I beat them because I'm the talented one. I'm the one who shoots straight. I'm the one that don't lie. I'm the one that don't screw people around, regardless of what my book says. And I'm taking that as a slap in the face that he doesn't think anybody knew who I was, and then he doesn't show up here tonight because he claims he's a little bit dizzy. Well, he's going to be dizzy if he don't show up at my next show, because we going to have some serious problems. I'm a big star in this business. I'm the man that does I'm the one that put podcasting on the map when it comes to the wrestling podcast. And not only that, I talk about religion, I talk about politics, I talk about current events, and I'll talk about your mother if you want me to, and I don't even know the lady. I'll talk about anything you want to talk about. No subjects off limits with me. I don't have anybody I'm trying to get a job with. I don't care who I offend. And what was it, Vito show last night? We love everybody. We don't want to talk smack on anybody. We don't want any heat. We don't want any problems. Well, how in the hell are you going to run a successful podcast that way? Do you remember when I started at Who's Slamming Who? Of course you don't. You're a young punk, barely in the business, don't even know anything about what I used to do. Well, I'll educate you a little bit. There was a podcast series called Who's Slamming Who? And it had the greats. It had the Iron Sheik. It had John Cena's dad. It had Lanny Poffo. And it had all these great big name wrestlers. But you know what? The show was called Who's Slamming Who? And nobody was talking any smack to anybody. Well, guess what I did when I got on the show? I said, well, we're going to make this show earn its name. And I'm going to talk about all the dirt I know on these people. And I'm going to bury these people, but I'm going to do it with facts. I'm not going to make anything up. Anything I say will be the truth. And then the fans caught on to that. Yeah, Bolin's talking smack on the Iron Sheik. Bolin's talking smack on Lanny Poffo. Bolin's pissed off Randy Macho Man Savage. Well, good. I told the truth. And I even understand my old buddy Jimmy Cornette's a little upset with me right now because of me and my son and some things that have been said since our friendship dissolved a few months ago. Well, we haven't said anything that ain't a lie. He hasn't even accused us of lying. He was just mad some things got brought up to public. Well, I guess I'm sorry about that. But you're the one that ended our friendship. You're the one that didn't want to be friends anymore because I wanted to remain friends with Vince Russo. We're both trying to use each other. We're both trying to milk each other's followers. Vince Russo's got 10 times as many followers as I got. So and he'd be a fool trying to get mine, and I don't need his. I got more than I can handle right now anyway. Matter of fact, I'd like a lot of you to go away so I can get some sleep at night. See, I like confidence in a young man. Yeah, you do realize I fired one guy because he wore his hat backwards. Do you realize how close that hat is to being backwards? Are you left-handed? Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed. I used to wear a hat backwards on the show.
Only you better not ever wear your hat backwards when I'm on this show. If you want to do that with Vince Russo and Vito and Miss Chantel and all, and didn't Miss Chantel just make a lovely video for me? Have you seen that?
I have, and I believe it's at the beginning of this episode. We're going to say that. I'm going to assume that I'll have it by the time this airs, and it's at the beginning of the show. So.
You've screwed enough up here today, not having
I
Russo.
screw everything up. Yeah, I screw everything up.
My kids, and they didn't know what to be on the show tonight. So you've caused enough trouble for one day. So don't you ever show up here with your hat backwards, as there's going to be some serious problems. I've already fired one moron for wearing his hat backwards, looking like a fool. getting on WWE television, waving his hands and trying to draw attention to himself, telling everybody he's going to be a broadcaster on Raw or SmackDown. What a fool. What an idiot. He embarrassed me, and I had to fire the boy. I had to fire him on the Jim Cornette Experience. That's what I did. I fired him there because I knew he listened. I said, well, good. I'll just fire him there, and he'll realize not to show up for work anymore. And that's how I got rid of him. So what show am I going to do when I fire you, Jeff Lane? Don't make me start calling you Jeff Lane, because all my hosts get another name.